More now on this morning's breaking news. U.S. airstrikes over Iraq less than 12 hours after the president announced military authorization. The target, ISIS terrorists attempting to slaughter a religious sect called the Yazidi. Joining me now is Republican Congresswoman Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, the former chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee. Congresswoman, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much, Jose. Congratulations.
Thank you. Let's talk about this bombing that happened just a little while ago. Your reaction to it?
Well, I support the president. I think this is long overdue. The Iraqi leaders have been calling for the U.S. to act to help them as their fight against this terrorist group that is, as you said, to the right of Al-Qaeda, and they want to slaughter Christians, any religious minority that is not.
They've been doing that already.
And they've been doing it, putting their heads on a stick, and it threatens our neighbors and our U.S. national security interests in Jordan and all of the neighbors. So we're worried about ISIL's march toward total domination. They want to establish this caliphate, this Islamic State, and we've got to take action. So it's a humanitarian mission and limited airstrikes. I think too limited.
Well, what do you mean by too limited? Because there is the issue of mission creep. I mean, Iraq has not exactly been a good place for Americans to deal with. The government there is pretty much in paralysis. The armed forces of Iraq have not at all defended the country against these terrorists?
Well, absolutely. I'm not defending what al-Maliki has done. He's been a failed leader, just like Karzai in Afghanistan, but we're moving on, and we see a section of Iraq that's been so pro-U.S., the Kurds, and we all thought, okay, the Kurds can take care of ISIL, and now we've seen ISIL taking over those sections, threatening the Kurds. This is an oil-rich area, as well as good U.S. allies. So once they struck there, I think that's what got the president's attention, thinking, my gosh, if they're going to take this area, these are good fighters, they can defend their own, and so we hope that there's something good is going to come of this. But look, those of us who supported the president in Syria when he said we're going to do limited airstrikes, and we said, okay, we're in, and then he pulled the rug from under us and said, okay, we're gonna get Congress to act, and then he went away. So he needs to stay in this fight. We need to get this done. ISIL is a threat to U.S. national security.
I want to shift your attention towards the Middle East. As you know, in Egypt, Hamas and Israel have been talking, and the 72-hour ceasefire ended, and the rockets started coming from Gaza into Israel. What can happen there?
Well, the reality is that Israel has honored every ceasefire. They have said silence will be met with silence, but when they hear bombs, they will respond with missiles as well. Hamas is a terrorist organization. You cannot equate it with our true democratic ally, the Jewish state of Israel. They want to defend themselves. Israel has every right to defend themselves.
They do,
Hamas wants to destroy Israel.
We understand that, but the problem is that Hamas is in Gaza, which is a highly densely populated area filled with civilians, men, women, and children. And when Israel attacks the Hamas targets, they many times are hitting innocent civilians as well.
Only because Hamas wants them to hit innocent civilians.
Well, for whatever it is, but that's the reality.
I passed a bill in the House saying, condemning Hamas for the use of civilians as human shields. They launch attacks from schools, from mosques, from hospitals, and then they say, look, Israel is throwing bombs at schools and mosques and hospitals, and they have underground tunnels where there's a whole infrastructure of machinery to destroy Israel.
Can something be done to help in that situation, which doesn't seem to have a very peaceful ending possibility?
We need to pressure Abu Mazen to divorce himself from Hamas. Fatah, the PLO, has got to say, we don't want to be a unity government with Hamas, and then let's forge this peace with the Palestinians, and let's marginalize Hamas. Hamas is going to be outnumbered once they see that the Palestinian people are aligned with Israel. That's the only answer.
I have to shift you now to immigration reform. You guys in the House weren't able to do anything. The Republicans didn't do anything on immigration reform before you went on this 5-week break. The crisis on the border continues. You were only one of a handful of Republicans that voted against removing DACA. What is the solution there? Because it seems as though many of you in Congress talk, but the proof is in the pudding, and there's not very good pudding on immigration reform.
Well, that's true, but there wasn't very good pudding for the Democrats when the Democrats controlled the White House, the House, and the Senate for 2 years. The president said he was going to make immigration reform a reality, and he did nothing.
It's not 2014.
But right now, what we can do, we are going to be passing an immigration bill, thanks to your brother, Mario Diaz-Balart, who's founded on conservative principles, where no one jumps over anybody else who's been in line, where we're able to get people right with the law.
But when is that going to happen,
well,
Congresswoman?
Mario and Paul Ryan and good leaders are working every day toward that, and we hope that it will happen.
What is it going to take? I mean, how long can you work on something while this crisis continues?
I did vote with the Dreamers because I think that the Dreamers have been a positive impact for our community. They are as American as apple pie. They don't have the papers, obviously, and so this lets them get right with the law and let them be part of the armed forces and contribute to society and be students. That's a good thing for us.
Florida Congresswoman Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, thank you so much for being with us.
Felicidades.
Muchas gracias. Thank you. And coming up, we'll have more on the